This video contains spoilers regarding alpha information found on Wowhead.com and the World of Warcraft's Battle for Azeroth Alpha. Be advised that this information can be adjusted or changed in the near future, but it may very well retain the same. World of Warcraft and all its music, cinematics, and characters are owned by Blizzard Entertainment. Please support the official release. If you do not care for the spoilers, you may
stick around!
As that there was an off-screen war between the Draenor Orcs and the Draenei, or maybe even the Legion. I don't know why the Legion would return, but, you know, it's possible. Which resulted in many deaths, including Durotan and Grommash. Which is why the Draenor Orcs aren't so against joining us in our fight, and are out for vengeance for the Fallen. They did say years ago, which does offer quite the span of time, though it could just be like 2 years or 1 year, you know. Greetings and salutations everyone, and welcome to another speculation video. Albeit, this is a shorter one than the last one. Really, it's just less to cover, honestly. I hope you're having a wonderful and glorious day, and if you're not, I hope I can make it better. Sylvanas in my last video made my Rexar video rather delayed, so in the meantime I can at the very least cover a very new topic for Battle for Azeroth. As you can tell by the title, we're talking about the Draenor Orcs and a new faction called the Lightbound. Which in the recent build, we've finally uncovered how exactly the Draenor Orcs officially joined the Horde, which I was partially right on. So on to what I could uncover from the broadcast texts. Basically, in the time after that, the Draenei and the Mag'har Orcs did move on to peace with one another. However, the Draenei, without much of a reason to fight, tugged upon the voices of the Naaru, who told them to take their worship of the light a step further. Next thing you know, they become Zera 2.0s, and forced their transformation onto the Draenei and the Orcs, and possibly even the Ogres, whether they wanted to or not. This incited a war between the two factions, the Lightbound led or assumed led by High Exarch Yarel. Yes, that fun-loving Yarel whom you Alliance had practically raised into an Exarch. She is now basically the Draenei incarnation of Zera. It should be noted that it has yet to be said if Yarel was among the ones who was for this transformation or not. I know many people will be upset over this change, and I offer my condolences, as I felt something similar when Garrosh went down a similar path. From what I saw from her, she was an awesome character, and it is unfortunate what has happened to her. But all the same, it is a very interesting route that they have taken. It seems that this is the end of Yarel, well, unless we manage to save her somehow. Meanwhile, the Mag'har are led by the previous Warchief of the Iron Horde, now Warchief of the Mag'har, Grommash Hellscream. It does seem as if Grommash did learn a thing or two thanks to us, but that doesn't stop his hatred for the Draenei. At least his reasoning for hating the Draenei is pretty valid this time around, compared to last time. He's much older now and has scars and gray hair to prove that time did indeed change.
Times change.
In this war that transpired over about 20 to 30 years, again, don't quote me on that, I really don't know how long it was. I have reason to believe it was 35 years in the future, but I've been told that information is wrong. In the span of the resulting war, Durotan was among the Mag'har who died against the Lightbound. I'd like to give a moment of silence and tribute to our fallen chieftain, Durotan. You will be missed, Durotan. But on the plus side, Draka managed to survive, and they did have their child before Durotan kicked the bucket. Unsurprisingly, it turns out Gaia-Ra, whose name shares a resemblance to Gaia, Durotan's mother, is their daughter. Gives a reason as to why Gaia-Ra has so much hatred for the Lightbound as well. Now, Gaia-Ra is going to be the leader of the Mag'har on Azeroth, and is basically this universe's thrall, except of course a woman. Oh, how the internet's going to have fun with that. You know, for perfectly legitimate fan art that is family friendly. Yup, nothing weird or inappropriate going on here on this channel. But speaking of children of warlords, turns out Grommash manages to spring himself a new son in the meantime, while we were away.
And got busy!
Whether or not if the son is Au Garrosh remains to be seen, but in a turn of fate, that son was also made into Lightbound, supposedly. Some of us did say we wanted Garrosh back, but whew boy, that's one way to turn the tables on us, Blizzard. So the Horde arrives to collect on the debt owed to them, but they walk right into this war between the Lightbound and the Mag'har, to which the Mag'har believe we are spies sent by the Lightbound. They're also rather disgusted by green orcs like Eitrig, which really isn't much of a surprise after what Gul'dan did and what Garrosh/Grommash warned them of it. I think the Mag'har orcs will eventually warm up to the orcs back on Azeroth. Also, it would appear green orcs are extremely rare in alternate Draenor, which, again, makes sense. Gaia-Ra takes us as her prisoners, still believing we're agents of the Lightbound, and asks us of our loyalties and knowledge on Draenor. I think it's a nice spin on things of making Lady Thrall here like this rather than how she is in our timeline. It really shows the whole what if and alternate paths that these characters have taken compared to our own reality. Just before Gaia-Ra takes matters into her own hands, Grommash is the one who actually spares us or saves us, probably remembering what we did for him exactly, and has us help them out with their issues against the Lightbound, as a way to prove ourselves and gain their strength into the Horde. It is around this time that Gaia-Ra reveals to us how the Lightbound became to be, which I've already explained to you. We join up with Lantresser, yes, the other half-orc Draenei, whom, if you remembered, we had recruited back in Warlords of Draenor as a follower, and together with the remaining Mag'har, we fight against the Lightbound and drive them out of Beastwatch. However, the threat of the Lightbound is not fully defeated, which is why many of the alternate orcs stay on Draenor, including Grommash. Azrael is still a threat. I am certain we'll see this revisited as a possible future questline, dungeon, scenario, or maybe even a raid. Goodness, I hope so. It's an interesting storyline I'd like to see more of. We return back to Azeroth with Gaia-Ra in tow, Grommash telling Gaia-Ra that he'll tell Draka of her fate, and Gaia-Ra's pretty confused as to why Vol'jin isn't war chief anymore, but for the most part, she's on board with joining the Horde, along with the rest of the Mag'har orcs. Damn them for reminding me of Vol'jin being dead. Ouch, Blizzard. Ouch. I just want to remind people about Ysera. Oh shit.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
The Mag'har also warned that the portal to alternate Draenor may not hold out forever, but Gyra believes we'll find a way to reopen it. Again, hopefully a reference we'll be seeing more from Grommash and the others in the near future. And there we go, that's how we gain the Mag'har Orcs as an allied race. At least that is what it is currently. Again, it's data mine information, and things can change, though I doubt it will change much. Now, I will give my thoughts on this data mine information and what I think it may lie in store for the future. So many of you noticed I get pretty excited when some of my speculations stir closely to the right direction. And while I was extremely vague about why the Draenei went to war with the Orcs in my last video, I'm pretty happy it was they who started the flames and not the other way around. You all know me well enough, or should, that I like it when it's not the Horde that start things. So it's nice to see Blizzard take it in this sort of direction with the Alliance at certain times. I also like this take of Xera or the light being a force that will force its way onto others. We saw it with Illidan and Xera, and we're seeing it in full force here. The light really needs to learn the definition or meaning of no. Perhaps the battle for Azeroth won't be the battle against just the old gods, but perhaps the Naaru and other light beings. So yeah, I'm a big fan on the reasoning why the Draenor Orcs joined the Horde, and have an actual reason to hate the Alliance and the Draenei. I understand that a lot of people don't like this, and, you know, I was not really big on Yrel in the first place, so that's probably why I'm not so hurt. Again, I feel bad for the people that are, you know, against this, but keep in mind this is mostly also for the Horde in the first place, so you weren't really gonna get a good Alliance story, I suppose. But again, I like it. Gyra sounds like a very interesting character now that she's not some random out of the blue. Again, that was my biggest issue with her, and I apologize for jumping to conclusions in the last video. But I was also very willing to give her character a chance, and I'm looking really forward to seeing her and Thrall meeting up. Is she technically his half-sister, or himself? That's a question for the internet to answer. This all being said though, in regards to being said, there are a few things that bother me. I do feel bad for the people who were looking forward to seeing Durotan, who's now dead, which again, that is something I am bummed about, considering Durotan was among my favorite of characters in Warlords of Draenor, and that he was killed off screen. Youch. And the character of Yrel going in a similar direction of Xera/Garrosh. It's also pretty unfortunate. I say Garrosh because his character did turn 180, though his was at least hinted at. Yrel's, you really are limited in seeing that transformation, sadly. However, if they take into the route that Yrel was the one who stood against the light in the first place and was forced into being Lightbound, that's pretty gosh darn tragic when you think about it. Forced into doing something you don't want to do, then doing it onto others, makes me feel bad for anyone who becomes Lightbound. It's a truly gruesome fate to watch behind a wall and unable to do anything as your body is forced to do things for someone or something else. Still, it's possible she was the one who brought this on the Horde, or the Mag'har, or Draenor itself. After all, the light was always a positive force. What's wrong about spreading it to others? That's something only the Draenei could probably see, honestly. It's a positive energy force. It's not gonna hurt you, from their perspective at least. They also lacked Velen, as he had died in that timeline, and I imagine they'd be asking the light for answers more than ever after that, because they were asking Velen most of the time. It's also curious that the Lightforged not act this way, especially when they were under the cast of Xera, the Prime Naaru. But then again, they might have done this prior to her destruction, as they did have a Dreadlord blessed in the ways of the light. It seemed as if his way of thinking was similar to hers. Speaking further on the Lightbound, we now have another possible return of Garrosh, though under the influence of the light, which could give Blizzard a chance at a newly refreshed Garrosh in the story. Though I personally understand if they make it a whole other character entirely, and not Garrosh at all. It could also be that Lightbound Garrosh, being lost, is death and not conversion. I've gotta feel bad for Grommash though. He's lost 2 sons now, one to us, technically Thrall, and the other one now to the Draenor. Personally, I love the idea of the threat of the Lightbound as it presents itself as a possibility and example throughout the universe. Heck, Azeroth herself may be threatened by it, or is already under its threat. I would love the concept of us fighting and freeing those Lightbound as something for the future, alongside Elder Grom. Honestly, it spans upon the content of World of Warcraft can still do with both darkness and light. We were told in 1,000 Years War audio that just as the void is capable of great evil, so is the light in its own oblivious way. Once more, there's some major content and lore that is gained from this, and the potential is really great. And hopefully it does not end up like Warlords of Draenor did, and for once I hope the information provided isn't changed too much. They really can do so much with the idea of the light forcing its power onto the people of Azeroth and Draenor. Anyways, thanks guys for watching my video, everyone. I look forward to recording this as an actual playthrough when we get down to it. My next video I'll be working on is the Rexar video that I've been promising, that I've been making any chance I get. I'm really excited to make this video, really. Remember to subscribe and ring that blasted bell because apparently that's how you get people to watch your videos, as a guarantee now. You can follow me on other platforms like Twitch, I've been doing stuff there lately, Twitter, Facebook, and my DeviantArt page. We also have a Patreon page set up as well if you would like to donate to me. Remember, it's not mandatory, but it would help me out quite a bit. We do have rewards currently planned out, though the prices for these rewards might change again. Feedback is really appreciated in this. Currently, such rewards are as followed. For $10, you can get your very own character made by yours truly from WoWModelViewer and Photoshop. For $15, you can get your very own character by yours truly and a shout out at the end of the video, like our first Patreon, Tika here, did for us. Thank you once again, Tika, and happy belated birthday. Lastly, for $30, you can get both of these things and make a cameo in one of these videos, as a voice or just a character in the background. Any amount is greatly appreciated, even if all you do is like or share this video. I greatly appreciate that, and it helps my channel grow. Thanks again for watching, I'm Skull Shorties, and I will see you all next time. See ya!